Hello and welcome into the TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. David Nuno here in Las Vegas. Had a good old time here. Hopefully have a great time leaving. That means an A&M victory tonight against USC. We discussed what that could look like on the Go Hour. We also had Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. He was fantastic. Jamie McCoy and Jordan Pugh, the Mega Powers together once again in one segment. It was great. And Billy Liucci, of course, to close out the show. That and more, it is the Rewind. Yeah, there's going to be some chess pieces, but it's interesting because as I was having this conversation with this staffer, I was like, in my mind, A&M's going to crush USC, which obviously means the opposite's going to happen. Not that A&M would get crushed, but we've gone through that narrative story with A&M. But 3 of your top 5 wide receivers, yet they'd still have some quality wide receivers. They have an offense. Their quarterbacks don't get sacked very much. A&M doesn't get to the quarterback all that much. They put pressure. Well, they did the previous incarnation of A&M's defense. We'll see how this group does. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what Rylan Kennedy and Cassius Howell do.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very key. And it's maybe give you a glimpse of what next year might look like to a certain degree. USC's starting right tackle is out. He's I can't remember if he entered the transfer portal or if he just opted out. And I didn't know this, but it sounded like in the press conference.
I got the info right here.
They're all conference guard.
Well, that part I don't know. I know their starting center, Jonah Monheim.
That's right.
Is going into the NFL draft. He is not playing. Their right tackle, Mason Murphy, entered the portal, went to Auburn.
Yeah, so you've lost 2 starting offensive linemen. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it all wrong. But when you look at I don't want to say quality. That's not the word I'm looking for. The stature of the guys opting out for A&M and USC, it just seems to me that USC has more.
It feels like more significant names.
More starters.
Yes. I mean, your 2 starting running backs, gone.
Yeah.
Right? Going to the NFL draft. One's the portal going, one going to the draft.
2 offensive linemen.
3 wide receivers.
Yeah, and at least 2 of them were probably starters.
Right.
So, and
your starting cornerback, Jalen Smith, I believe, entering the portal or the draft. I think he's in the draft. So a lot of guys gone.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter. It's football. Line up and, Lincoln Riley offensively, he can get some yardage going. And what is A&M's Achilles heel when it comes to defense?
Well, big plays. And lately, it's been stopping the run. But even before that, they do have issues in pass defense at times. So, the defense just has to play better.
Defense has to play better. But you're taking on a 6-6 team from what I think a conference overall that wasn't that good. They were very top heavy.
I think it's a referendum on Lincoln Riley, which way the program is headed, who's bought in, can they compete in the Big Ten, what's his next stop, the thing's souring there. And then for A&M, I think if you have a quarterback these days, it's like having a pound of gold. And A&M has a quarterback, and Reed has something to look forward to, something to build on. If not for a couple of happenstances, they might be in this playoff. And in the SEC, which has got how many bowl slots are there? 13 or 14 or 15, something like that.
Seems like it.
They're always going to be in it. I mean, they're very close to getting to a playoff spot. I did say in 2 years I will bet my house if this field expands to 14. And those spots aren't going to go to Marshall or Boise State. Those are going to go to Big Ten and SEC schools.
Hey, so Dennis, why are you so high on Marcel Reed?
Well, the fact that you have a guy who's quote unquote proven, he's got some rough edges. Obviously, I love his athleticism. You see very few teams that are good. Let's put it that way. That don't have some form of a +1, and a +1 is a quarterback who can at least create things for himself. And that, Marcel Reed isn't a refined thrower. I think that can be worked on. But those games he had this year, some of those bigger games he had this year, I mean, he looked Lamar Jackson like, and I know a lot of Aggies out there going, what is he talking about? I think that's the upside you build on.
All right. Talking to Dennis Dodd here on TexAgs Live. So just a little bit on Coach Elko, and Obviously, this, as you mentioned a moment ago, they were a play or two away from maybe competing in the SEC championship game. Yep. I know the Texas game was not pretty, but they had their chances in that game overall, even with no offense. What do you think about the job Coach Elko did in year one and what he can build on for year two?
I think it was good. Again, some disappointing results of Texas, obviously, and USC, which is still a little bit, we were just talking about USC and how that went, but at the beginning of the season, excuse me. I think it was good. I think it's something to build on. I'm not going to sit here and say, it was the home run, because it wasn't.
Gosh, the excitement level, like you said, it's not just through the roof, but I'm kind of looking forward to what next year can be. With this game, I want to see Marcel kind of take a leap, show us that his arm talent is there. I like to see some of the young receivers step up, and then I like to see what our defensive line is going to look like without the three bona fide NFL players that we got leaving the field. So I just like to see a revamped look of the offense. You've had, what was it? It's been about a month since we played last. So I like to see Colin Klein come out here and show. I know we're not. It's the end of the season. We got plenty of time before next season. But I love to see us come out and look balanced and look like we got something to look forward to for next year.
Jordan?
Yeah, man, Jamie, you said it all, man. I'm looking forward to just watching the defense, and defense got to get their groove back. Looking at what we did, finishing out the season, not being consistent, not making enough plays, man, losing the guys on the D-line, I think that's going to be crucial. But like you said, Jamie, it's cool. I'm glad we playing USC. I'm glad that they're there. That's cool. But we should be somewhere else. We should have been in Atlanta. We should have finished the season out strong. Like you with Klein, what are we going to do offensively? How are we going to open up the offense? What are we going to do to propel ourselves going into the offseason, right? All that stuff is what I'm looking at this year, or for this game. But, man, overall, defensively, I want to see us stand up. I want to see us look like we did the first part of the season defensively. Get to the quarterback, create plays, create turnovers. That's going to be big for us.
All right, guys, let's take it in parts. Jordan, start us off here. What do you need to see directly from Marcel Reed for just to add a little excitement for next season?
His passing game grow. We know that he has the mobility. We know that he can make plays outside of the pocket and extend those plays. But I think that him and Klein are 1 and 2 when it comes to that. I think being able to exploit what he does best is what you want to see going into the offseason. We know that he can make plays. We know that we got RPO options. We know that we can get him outside of the pocket. But can he grow in the passing game? I think that's going to be the biggest thing moving forward for him. In this game against USC, they got an improved defense. Can he understand reads? Does he understand where his first, his second, and his third option are? How much has he grown with this time off? And what can we do to propel that moving forward?
I was talking about just winning this first bowl game, or for Coach Elko, sure, but what it can mean moving forward, in this long off season that it is, you much rather be talking about a W than losing 4 out of your last 5 games.
Yeah, and honestly, let's just call it what it would be. It would be 4 out of 4. I mean, New Mexico State at home, I think we don't count those as games. Those are, I know coaches across the country will act faux outrage over me saying that, but those are practice sessions to get ready for the games, and especially in late November. But also winning, I think Elko's spot on. Winning would be massive for the program. Just going into the offseason, the fan base, the vibe of your kids in the locker room. I said the same stuff when Jimbo went 9-4 in year one, and A&M beat the crap out of NC State in the Gator Bowl, and it capped off what people would have a hard time saying. Okay, this wasn't a really good first year. You have to admit, like, if A&M wins 9 games in Mike Elko's first season, and they beat US, and I know bowl games are what they are, but the Aggies are dealing with the same stuff. So it's apples to apples. But if they beat USC, LSU, top 10 teams from LSU and old Missouri at the time, if you do that, win 9 in year one, that is, I mean, we've talked about it all year, like what people saw as, what would be a good first year in this league, and it's not even close. Like 9-4 Doesn't check every box because we know. I think the one that stings still is probably Auburn, but it doesn't check every box. But it'd be a hell of a start, hell of a first year to get to go off and get 9.
We're going to close it out. Nick, why don't you do the honors here, buddy?
You're going to like, you're going to comment, you're going to subscribe, you're going to tune into the TexAgs tailgate, then the TexAgs post-game wrap after an Aggie win, and you're going to have a good Friday night.
Thank you all. Happy New Year. Talk to you very soon.